Good morning, aspirants. It's 14th of October today, and I welcome you all on today's edition of What to Read in the Hindu newspaper. While going through the articles, we will not only see its relevance with regard to prelims and mains, but we'll also try and interlink it with other GS papers as well. I'm here to align your newspaper reading as a part of our GS syllabus. So let's get started. The very first article that is there in the paper and that talks about retail inflation eases to 8-year low of 1.54%. Now, when we map this particular article in our syllabus, this will fall under GS paper 3 under the theme economy, wherein inflation, growth, RBI policy, monetary management. From prelims perspective, the arenas that we have to revise is about CPI versus WPI inflation, inflation measurements, what is base effect, what is the difference between core inflation and headline inflation. So this is how the basics are to be revised. So the key theme that has been discussed in this particular article talks about the retail inflation has dropped below RBI's lower tolerance limit. The lower tolerance limit is 2%, but it is much more than that. So is it good for economy or not? So and what are the reasons for this low inflation altogether? Which all factors has contributed to it? Afterwards, we need to know what is the RBI's band of inflation control, negative impact of WPI and CPI inflation trends that we are seeing. From mains perspective, if we map this particular article, this will fall under linking towards monetary policy transmission, household consumption slowdown, and what are the possible deflation risk associated with this much of low inflation altogether. In this manner, this particular article is to be seen holistically, revised not only what has been discussed, but the core peripheral areas that could be a potential question for our exam. Next important article that is there in the paper and is on editorials page, and that majorly talks about the potential India's economic growth. So this majorly talks about estimating India's potential growth rate. So this article, when we map in our syllabus, will fall under GS paper 3, Indian economy, growth and development. From prelims perspective, output gap, potential GDP, what are the productivity factors that has been discussed in this particular article. And there is an economic debate that talks about potential growth rate and the level of GDP growth without stoking inflation. So the estimates varies between 6 to 6.5%. This can be analyzed. From prelims perspective, the conceptual clarity that we need to have is about what is potential versus actual GDP, output gap and its policy implication, fiscal multiplier effects, what is it? For mains perspective, this article is to be seen. How does estimating potential growth helps with India's fiscal and monetary policy coordination? This can even be interlinked with RBI's inflation targeting, infrastructure gaps, and demographic dividend. So when the transitions that is required to measure India's actual potential growth when it comes to GDP is to be seen through this particular article. Moving on, the next important article that is there in the paper, and that talks about testing governance. So national security and ecological responsibility reinforce each other. So this is from mapping syllabus perspective will fall under GS paper 2 under the theme governance, accountability and civil services reforms. There has been several dams and projects that is being made on major rivers. Here, Chenab River and in this water treaty has been discussed. Afterwards, Chenab River already hosts a lot of dams such as 𝗗𝗏, Baglihar and Salal project. which is already having a lot of infrastructure and conflict with Pakistan. So these sort of the gravity dam, which is newly proposed at 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, so and the reservoir that we are trying to make over it will cause a conflict, and also the fragile environmental ecosystem there could be affected. So in this manner, this particular article firstly is to be mapped, its relevance and importance, and why certain considerations has to be made when we plan a mega infrastructure project there. Afterwards, how several reforms and usage of technology could be a framework to actually know the impacts could be reduced or not. This is also relevant for GS environment, GS3 under the theme environment, wherein the ecosystem related disasters, which is increasing nowadays in fragile Himalayan region, could be linked and analyzed. The next important article that is there in the paper and that catches our attention talks about a green transition at express speed. So this, when we map in our syllabus, will fall under GS paper 3, environment, energy and infrastructure. From prelims perspective, we need to know the renewable gap, COP commitments, the recent one, 2028, then energy storage capacity that India has developed over the period of time, then India's green transition gap that is there, and rapid solar expansion that we are doing. EV, hydrogen ecosystem expansion, which is driven by global supply chain and domestic policy push that the government is trying to do. From prelims perspective, we need to revise National Green Hydrogen Mission, Battery Energy Storage System Scheme, COP28 commitments, India's net zero by 2070, how we are going to do it, what are the policy framework that has been there and we have launched with regard to it. And from mains perspective, every time one single argument that can be quoted, India's green transition energy that must balance sustainability with inclusivity as well. So this could be an overall linkages with the syllabus and relevance of this particular article. We can even supplement it with IEA Energy, International Energy Agency report, NITI Aayog's Energy Transition Index. So all these can be quoted and read and revised. The next important article for the day is about India invites Carney to for AI summit. Both sides agree to restart trade talks. Now this is relevant with India and Canada's international relationships issue. So this is relevant for IR, wherein India-Canada ties can be interlinked. Also relevant for GS paper 3 because a lot of deals in arenas such as defense, green energy, AI can be interlinked. And FTA are in talks, not exactly FTA, but SIPA. So we need to know the difference between FTA and SIPA. So from prelims perspective, one such, I have already written it over here, Bletchley AI Safety Summit background, what it is meant for, which all dimensions it cover, and who all are the members of it. We need to know about this. AI in G20 and global partnership on AI can be interlinked. So this is how this particular article is to be seen. The next important article that is there in the paper is about census growth rate and death rate. The number of birth declines, death rise slightly, quotes report. Relevant for GS paper 1, Indian society, demographies, GS paper 2, health and population policy. From prelims perspective, we can supplement several arguments by quoting reports such as National Family Health Survey, that is NFHS survey, CRS data, the latest CRS, that is civil registration system data. It shows the article is being talking about declining birth rate and mild rise in death rate, signaling demographic transition towards replacement level. And what is replacement level is 2.1. So we need to know about which all states have achieved it, which all states are yet to achieve it, what is crude birth rate and total fertility rate, the recent NFHS 5 data, CRS coverage, and all these angles can be interlinked while going through this particular article. We can even link this with rising aging population, with labor force participation, and is our healthcare system good enough to cater to the rising needs of aging population, which would pose a major challenge in the upcoming time. Also, UNFPA State of World Population Report 2024 can be read and revised. And the last important article for the day is about snow leopard, relevant for GS paper 3, environment and biodiversity. And we need to know the status of snow leopard, IUCN report, its status. Then afterwards, do we have any plan launched to conserve snow leopard? Does India have any population of snow leopard and all? What are Wildlife Protection Act and in which schedule it has been put forward? What is Himalayan ecosystem? And project Snow Leopard that has been launched in 2009. What do we conduct any sort of census similar to tiger or not? Then we can even interlink with it other transboundary conservation nation, wherein we are collaborating with the other nations for preservation of snow leopards, India, China, Nepal, such as, and what is the genetic threat associated with snow leopard altogether. So in this manner, this particular article is to be holistically seen, read and revised. This is all from my end for today's Hindu newspaper discussion. Till we meet for the next time, take care and goodbye.